What a gorgeous skyline, Calgary, as we get set for the Tim Hortons NHL Heritage Classic. Pleased to be joined by Bob Gainey and Lanny McDonald. Go right to page 72 of your book, Lanny. And this is a little one for Grapes, too, because he'd be thrilled about the 76 Canada Cup. You were playing with Darryl Sittler on a line with Bob Gainey at camp, and you said playing with Darryl, of course, was great, but to play with Gainey was very special. There isn't a right winger in the NHL wouldn't prefer to line up with Bob Gainey instead of against him. Gainey, in my mind, is the ultimate left winger, can skate, shoot, and with the shot he's got, it's surprising he hasn't scored more than he has. There's a shot. But you
no, it wasn't a shot.
Yeah, I know. You go on to say he had to play against the greats. So tell me about what that time was like, 76, when you got to actually suit up with Bob.
Well, it was such an honor for me to have a chance to play on that team, period. But to play with Darryl Sittler and Bob Gainey, oh my gosh. I hated playing against him all the time because he was so good. Big, strong, could do it all, head up all the time, and didn't mind running over you from time to time either.
And do you have a reflection of that time, Bob?
Well, I think, that was a very good trio that we had. Darryl was a really great offensive player, and Lanny very strong on his skates with a ton of a shot. And so I filled out, and we had a good line, but we were the third line or the fourth line. Yeah. So that's the kind of team we had in 1976 for that Canada Cup.
Well, Bob was such a great shutdown guy, Lanny, and he said there was a difference maybe with Mike Bossy versus Lanny McDonald. What do you remember? Because eventually in '89, although you were coming off a bad knee, Bob, I'll give you that one, but eventually you got to him. What was it? What did he do so well, other than size and that you remember about Montreal's defense?
Well, I think his skating. You have all kinds of checkers out there in the league, but no one could skate with the power and the speed that Bob did, and he would wear you down before you knew it. At the end of the game, there was nothing left, and you needed to score a big goal, and he was still there. Like, he never let you go, yet he wasn't afraid to grab the puck and go offensive on you too.
Yeah. Bob, it's interesting. When Edmonton got beat by Calgary in '86, and you eventually beat Calgary for the Cup, they had Colin Patterson take out Yari Curry, so Gretzky was less effective, and they put Joel Otto on Mark Messier. Now when you look at the Sedins or the great teams, Philly's really deep. What would you tell teams that are trying to beat Vancouver or beat Philadelphia about pre-scouting and learning how to... What did you do? What was the magic in that?
Well, I mean, I'd have to take a little bit of time and look at the matchups. But today, it's more seems to be more relevant that the top players play against the top players. The good two-way offensive players will match up against the offensive players, and there isn't a lot of changing off on the fly to get matchups other than the defensive pairings against strong offensive players on the other team. That seems to be the norm today, and how they address good offensive players who could hurt you.
Is it because of the TV timeouts? Why is it that it's changed?
I think it's just it's just a trend. It's just a change. Like we see those offensive players now, those good players working on the short man, working on penalty killing, where in the 70s and 80s we had players who just played on that, and that was their role in the team. And now those more talented two-way players, offensive players, they get to participate in a lot of different areas.
Lanny, how about you had, I just got to turn down this little thing here. Toronto and Montreal had two great runs as well in '78 and '79. What about a memory of Bob's great teams then?
We beat the Islanders that year in that long 7-game series. Went against.
How did you beat the Islanders?
We got great instruction from a guy by the name of Roger Nielsen, who gave us a game plan that everyone believed in, and all of a sudden we were in Game 7. Then you go against Montreal, and we lost all 4 games by 1 goal, I believe, and we lost 2 of those in overtime. It was that close, and unfortunately they started trading players away, and that team never had a chance. We thought we were maybe 1 or 2 players away from having a good chance to take a run at it all.
You scored the winner in overtime. A lot of kids won't remember. Calder, you wouldn't get in here. Calder, you're going to have a very special opportunity to drop the puck with your granddad and Bob here in just a minute. But he scored the winner for the Leafs against the Islanders. How about Lanny McDonald and the Calgary Flames against the Montreal Canadiens here at McMahon Stadium, Bob?
I just mentioned to Lanny, and being here for the weekend and sort of reliving that span between 85 and 90 for the Canadiens. I think those championships turned out the way they were supposed to. We had a sort of a Cinderella team in '86 that won the championship, but many of those players turned out to be really prolific NHL players, Claude Lemieux and Chris Chelios and Patrick Roy. At that point, they weren't as well known, but they became well known. And the Flames in '89, in the meantime, they added players like Joe Nieuwendyk, Thierry Fleury, and those kinds of players that really enhanced their team and made them a real powerhouse.
Treat to have you both here. Enjoy the ceremonial face-off. Lanny McDonald, Bob Gainey, and Calder, Elliott.